Hello, what is up everybody? It is I am the one and only Sonic the Hedgehog here, and I'm Knuckles the Echidna here. It's time for some Knuckles sandwich. Yep, exactly Knuckles, and we are from the likes of the Maxi Toys videos as always. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo 64. So last time we have basically just went through Link's playthrough in terms of Player 1 game. No, we did have a pretty okay time, despite the fact that in the ending portion gets a bit rough around the edges though. But apart from those aside things though, we did that pretty decently. So today, we're about to begin the 4th playthrough in terms of the forms of Player 1 game, and this time we're going to be selecting Samus Aran ever since in the Metroid series. It's kind of weird actually, it's the fact that ever since in the forms of it back in the day, that I'm very surprised about the fact that Nintendo has completely ignored the Nintendo, or in this case the Nintendo 64 game for Metroid, even though that the only time that Metroid does make an appearance in Nintendo 64 games era, which is of course Super Smash Bros. So yeah, it seems kind of interesting to say the least, because obviously they worked on, back in the day they moved on to their development for the next 2D Metroid game, and especially notable with the first ever 3D Metroid game. Specifically, the 2D Metroid game, it was of course Metroid Fusion for the Game Boy Advance, and also Metroid Prime, specifically the original game. Yeah, which both came out the same year as each other, so well, despite in a PAL version, in this case the UK version did manage to get a year delay in 2003, but it doesn't bother me at all though, because hey, at least we are the Metroid enthusiasm or something like that, but hey, at least we enjoyed those games basically. So, despite the Metroid 2, Return of Samus for the Game Boy does have a little bit of a questionable black sheep of the series kind of decision making, but usually, relatively speaking, that's all I can really trying to able to say about this for the most part. So anyway, so how it works for Samus Aran for the first game in the Super Smash Bros. Games, basically. If you're trying to press the B button or trying to use the special attack for the standalone B attack, this allows her to able to actually charge her beam shot, or to be more specifically, she's trying to get a lot of emphasis on the charge shot specifically. And then if you manage to press this side, well, usually down special attack, this allows her to able to do a Morph Ball Bomb, because I say Morph Ball Bomb just because you know the forms of things ever since in well, let's just say the original Metroid and Metroid 2, The Return of Samus, and especially notable with Super Metroid from the Super Nintendo game, basically if she managed to able to utilize the actual Morph Ball, eventually, when you come on towards the actual Morph Ball Bomb upgrades, you can able to actually drop bombs from anywhere else. So yeah, that's something worth noting for, especially notable because we know Metroid for quite some time, even though sometimes we still need to get used to with the forms of some main emphasis on exploration kind of stuff, like the Metroidvania kind of stuff, even though generally speaking, because of how the fact that, well, it's just so atmospheric too, even for the Metroid Prime trilogy at the same time, so, but I digress. A few things we want to explain about this today is the fact that, oh, yeah, I forgot about this last special move for Samus, is the fact that if you utilize the up special attack, this allows her to able to perform a screw attack. So that way you can able to actually just do damage enemies, or opponents rather, from, if you're able to use it properly, and especially noticeable, it helps you if you're trying to recover. So yeah, I've seen very standard stuff though for the most part, so yeah, that's what I can say and all that stuff. And now we're going to break the targets. Hopefully we would be able to actually do both break the targets and board the platforms as Samus within the first attempt. And if not, then otherwise, much like the forms of Link's playthrough, we'll able to actually come back for those if we somehow manage to fail some of them. So, but I digress. So obviously today's day is of course the 16th of November today, in this case in 2020. So in this case though, not much else to talk about, apart from the fact that until eventually this Wednesday, the new Mario Kart Tour is going to be hosting a new tour. which this time around though is actually completely different. What is up with the forms of Super Smash Bros. Brawl reference? Like, trying to pair up for certain characters for certain teammates. Like, obviously, during the forms have been the Link's playthrough of this game so far, that whenever we come across into Stage 4, that we somehow team up with Yoshi. So, I'm guessing that makes a reference to the next Smash Bros. Game, Super Smash Bros. Brawl, whenever you come towards the Subspace Emissary stage called the Forest, and that does seem very obvious for that reference there. And now we ended up teaming up with Pikachu in this stage, which actually represents the actual reference to, I would say, in the research facility stage, in Journey forms of when Zero Suit Samus managed to finally got herself her suit. So, speaking of Pikachu, we're about to be face off against with him now. How strange was that? But I digress. So, obviously, she made her first appearance, or Samus did obviously made her first appearance, is obviously from Metroid. That's the 4th time Pikachu screwed up! Wow. How weird is that? Yeah. Anyway though, obviously she made her first appearance is obviously from Metroid, so even then though, for the NES/Famicom disk system. So, but either way though, we can able to accept it for that. And this time we can now able to team up with Ness, and in addition to Luigi as well in Giant DK battle, so hopefully we'll get a chance to able to actually beat the crap out of him. Yup, in this case Knuckles sandwich to him anyway, so... And it looks like... Did he just sacrifice himself? Wow. How strange this run can be. Even though, despite the fact that we actually got no damage between 2 stages so far. Well, 3 if you want to count the forms of the very first stage, which is of course face off against with Link in Hyrule Castle and stuff. I'm guessing we actually gave ourselves a very, very good run-through so far. Well, the only time exception though, Sonic, is the fact that as far as you guys can clearly saw, from the likes of in the Yoshi's Island stage, somehow we got screwed over by that, once again, the random explosion effect on during certain random items. Specifically, the capsule, or just a box in general, or even a barrel, don't forget. But usually, relatively speaking, it's just that sometimes we got screwed over sometimes, so... Oh well, not the end of the world honestly, because obviously this is still on normal mode, but either way though, because we just feel like trying to go through normal mode as it is, so anyway though. So anyways, let's talk about the forms of that Mario Kart Tour next event they're going to be hosting on to until this Wednesday. That is completely different compared to the forms of how it does it in the previous tour events. Such as for instance about the fact that since that the Sunset Tour is almost going to come towards the end. So even then though, this time around though, it does completely different compared to the forms of the previous events, as I said earlier, because now we ended up in the forms of the character versus kind of event. Such as for instance, that the next tour in Mario Kart Tour, specifically until when it gets to the point until, I would say the 18th of November, all the way up to the 2nd of December, if you will. That's what appears to be by the forms of Mario vs. Luigi Tour. So, that might be seems a little bit interesting to say the least, despite the fact that we still ended up quitting that game now, just because of too many emphasis on microtransactions, and also same applies to our downgraded phone just keeps on crashing the game, which as a result, it just completely ruins our experience, because we're looking forward to it though back then, but every now and then we just pretty much give up on that game now, because of, you know, some very questionable design choices they obviously managed to try to do, like obviously with the microtransactions and all that stuff. Speaking of Samus Aran, here we go face off against with, well, the doppelganger of herself. And it's kind of weird about the fact that since we're going to be playing as Samus during, you know, one player game, despite the fact that in the CPU player it always calls it Samus Aran, whilst we play as Samus herself, that she doesn't get herself the Samus Aran surname in between. Yeah, I found it very strange if I were you, Sonic. So, anyway, I suppose another thing I should probably explain about this too, that one thing we totally forgot to mention ever since the journey forms at the beginning portion of this Let's Play is that there are some version differences in between. Well, aside from the fact that in the Japanese release of the game on Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo 64, obviously the obvious change is the fact that with the actual Jigglypuff does get her different name, and also similarly is that relatively speaking, is the fact that some of these sound effects, specifically in this game in particular, does manage to add some several sound effects in the Japanese release of the game. Most notably because of how the fact that they just add some wacky, comical kind of punches here and there, as well as some slaps here and there as well. Obviously in the English version, I have no idea why they just removed that sound effects completely, whilst unlike the Japanese release of the game, does have a lot of punching cool sounds, which, yeah, because of that though, I just have no idea why. They just do not seem to able to use that sound effects feature in the rest of any other countries, which, aside from Japan anyway, though, managed to got very lucky in the end. But I digress. So here we go, face off against with Metal Mario for the 4th time in a row so far for the sake of this Let's Play. So either way though, not much else different from there aside from we are almost gonna get ourselves butt kicked, but either way, it's just that sometimes Metal Mario can take forever to able to actually just to kill him, especially noticeable if you do this on higher difficulties, mainly with hard or very hard mode, because most of the time he always— oh, thank you, out of nowhere Starman, you decided to give us invincibility, and Metal Mario, can you just chill out for a bit? Thank you. I have no idea what's going on there. Anyway. Come on, there we go. That took us about a minute and 17 seconds to kill him, which does take a bit of a while to finish him off, but oh well. Ah, son of a— we always get cornered by, I would say a polygon render of, I don't know, Captain Falcon or something? I don't know. I can't really tell what the actual rendering stuff is all about, but either way though— oh jeez. And obviously we're gonna get hit right there. Which should be expected by that point. But aside from all that stuff though, that's as far as we can able to say. Apart from the fact that until eventually at some point this Friday, that the new Nintendo Switch game will be releasing this Friday, which as far as you guys can clearly tell, is of course Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. So even then I'm really looking forward to able to test that game out, but unfortunately though, we're probably not gonna get it until we're not gonna get it in day 1, I should say, because, well, not gonna spoil anything until specifically whenever we get closer towards the end of this godforsaken year. So, but I digress. Alright, so here we go, face off against with the Fighting Polygon team again for the 4th time in a row. So there's gonna be a lot of repeats here and there, aside from the fact that, well, with the actual different partners and all that stuff, which that seems very obvious for that specific standpoint alone. So anyway though, anyways, let's do a oh Jesus Christ. Sometimes you never know of what these computer players might able to react onto you. Especially noticeable about the fact that since we're going to keep on using the screw attack every time, that way we can able to actually just to kill all those polygon fighters or knock them out. Oh, this hammer's mine. Go on. No. Ah, son of a— oh jeez, we're gonna get screwed. Yep. Oh, damn it. I just did not notice that one of those polygon fighters managed to got the hammer. Oh, we were too late. But luckily, there's going to be another one on its way, so even I know that it might be still pretty rough around the edges, though, for our run so far. Even though, imagine if you were going to able to actually unlock one of those next unlockable fighters that, imagine if you're going to do it with 3 stocks left, it will be pretty much a pain. Like, if you're trying to do on normal, higher difficulties, which, believe me, it's not as easy as it looks, so. Anyway, though, so let's go ahead and just keep on using her, no, this hammer's mine. Okay, there we go. Hoi. That was a bit too close for that comfort. Anyway, though, something's worth mentioning for this point as well is the fact that, I'm not exactly, oh yeah, for that particular, grab animation, or that grab attack for, Samus, is actually almost inspired by the grapple hook. Oh, seriously! What is up with the explosions? Oh, jeez. We keep on getting screwed over by those things all the time, folks. But at least there's a Pokeball yet that we have to grab. And just use it in the process, so... And there goes the last Polygon Fighter, and there we go. Jeez, that was a bit of a rough run on that particular stage, I have to say. Just because, well, again, we got screwed over by, you know, most of these computer players keep on grabbing more powerful items and also random explosions for certain crates or barrels. But oh well, no big deal. At least we did try. We did try our best. But anyways, time to deal with the Master Hand for the 4th time in a row. Even though that was before when Super Smash Bros. Melee was a thing, that obviously Crazy Hand will make its appearance in Melee and the future games. So, which to be expected with the first game in the series, they didn't even actually like, well, you know. And also, very much like the forms of the future games as well, for the Final Destination stages, specifically the ones in Melee and Brawl, and even especially noticeable with for the 3DS and the Wii U, and recently Ultimate, the actual background actually changes depending on how long the battle will take. So, yeah, it seems very interesting and cool and stuff like that, which to be expected with some of the most iconic stages of all time for the Super Smash Bros. Game history. So, but either way though, that's all I can say about it. I would like to mention about other things I'd like to discuss upon, but we'll save that specifically until Wednesday. Because of this though, we're about to be planning to watch the next film we're going to be planning to watch, and that would appear to be by the films of the most recent SpongeBob movie, which came out on Netflix just recently, as we already established that from before. And that is, of course, Sponge on the Run. And let me know in the comments below about the fact that, well, again, we'll talk more about it until whenever we get on to Wednesday. Because of that, though, I think we've run out of time. So, yeah, we'll discuss on that later. So, anyway, 4 characters down and only 8 more to go. So in this case, we got endings up here. So join us next time for more Let's Play of Super Smash Bros. It's the fact that we are moving on to the next character in the lineup. And that is, of course, Yoshi. So we'll see you guys until on Wednesday. See you later, fellas. See you then.